The U.S. country of Alabama is innovative. A draft to boat train high school personnel, consisting teaching staff, coaches and administrators, how to consider school students' affliction of narcotic overdoses. Times include modified. Guys are receive things out of their parents' cabinets. They don't include to go out on the road, and they don't aware which they are take, says January Cybulski, high school nurse overseer in Village Shelby Shire, one of the region's signature up to the program. Before the begin of the year, the country, love largest other, suggested high school medical staff manage the treat, but now they are expansion the learning to some training personnel, as the opiate plague spirals national. The medicine, naloxone, is creature turned on in schools norm disaster kits near defibrillators and allergic individual remedying EpiPens. For U.S. training personnel, the learning could be else norm order, love survey drills. Florida is examining a such lead. In Columbiana, a little city in the cardiac of Alabama's Shelby Shire, the at first learning sessions are creature detained at a CTEC top high school. Specializing in professional skills, it has a so-equipped care training chamber, consisting lifetime-sized dummies how are normally utilized by school students who wish to go in nurse. A demonstrate on one of the mannequins shows how fast and lightweight the treat is. Following inviting 911 and hard jaw-to-jaw, you click the Evzio automatically injector, that resembles a smoke package, versus the patient's external hip, via their clothing. A strained automatic vote counts downward how length you requirement to keep it in location, 5 seconds. With the unit conducted hardly a min, and later it characteristically conducted about else min or 2 for an subconscious sacrifice to awaken. The patient tends to spring time up, embarrassed and agitated, so portion of the learning involves preparation training personnel for the upheaval. They will get tips on spot signs of an overdosage in the at first location. Alabama's Division of Formation says the learning has been intended to assist training personnel get above their terror element related in such an disaster. The injection can't do any damage, they tell. Authorities say no kid is named to include overdosed in Alabama's high school framework, but they terror it could be a question of period. They say they wish to be anticipatory, quite rather than expect for the at first tragic. In 2015, the country was the highest establishing country in the nationality for opiate ache relief prescriptions, onto the Center for Illness Monitoring and Preventive. The country is told to include more than opiate prescriptions rather than human beings. The non-mandatory schema is accessible to each top high school in the country. The expenses are coded by a grant via the country's Division of Social Public Health. Jennifer Ventris, nursing admin for the country's Division of Formation, says down there has been a terrible concern, and about 21 regional formation agencies include signed up with the schema was at first opened in January. If financing can be provided, it will be proposed to basic schools. Too much. Amy Bricklayer, a main at Madison Shire Basic High School in Gurley, a diminutive city in the country's polar, says she would certainly be concerned. Her high school conducted school students elderly up to 13. She had a wake-up urge in 2015, while several of the older students were rushed to clinic following take recipe drugs in the class. They did not overdosage, and the narcotic, Lyrica, was not classed as an opiate, but she says it was a carrier at first for her and a mark of a expansion issue. The more than learning, the superior it is for all implicated, she says. The draft has been in the pipe for 2 years, comprising different bodies work along. Country lawyer General Steve Marshall said regional news story reporters how he had hesitated to behind it at first, as he concerned it would promote more than narcotic use. He has with proposed supporting. The question has a private importance for him as his woman annihilated by herself recent year following struggling psychological disease and drug addiction. Not one more than Alabama, a knowledge team for families dealing narcotic problems, as well supports the school's lead. She as well negotiations of private expertise as the mom of a son who struggles in drug addiction. I conduct naloxone in my rucksack. If a favorite one is an opiate drug addict, you requirement to include it in your household, in your vehicle, in your wallet, she says. The U.S. General Surgeon General gave the identical consultation recent year, instructing all Americans who are at hazard of overdosage, and those shut to them, to conduct naloxone. The Meal and Narcotic Authority is as well now examining if to encourage doctors dictate the antivenom at the identical period as egg killers for patients deliberate at top hazard. Naloxone is already stored on brush in different society centers and police force stations, and is supplied by lot of pharmacies. It as well comes as a nose hairspray, frequently by the mark Behalf Narcan. Yet, though insurers frequently choose up the draft, it remnant expensive. Caleo, that produces the Evzio Inspirator utilized in Alabama schools, came by critique recent year following camp up its prices, of $575, £435, to more than rather than $4,000 per unit. A Sinead subcommission paper told the business was maintaining a domestic meltdown. The business discarded the allegation. It told a more profitable common release, $178 for couple, will start after the year. A draft how would enable naloxone to be accessible in schools in Florida was registered recent monthly by a more democratic term of the Florida legislative body, Jason Pizzo, and remnant by review. In comparison with Alabama, the country has already had repeated cases of to-school opiate overdoses. 2 weeks back, a 14-year-old boy was loaded following earning a recipe narcotic of his household and distribution it to counterparts at Horizons Academia in Bradenton, Florida, on to the regional clique. 3 students were undertaken to clinic, wherever one was restored in naloxone.